5 years ago, we had a terrific rainstorm here in Santa Fe. The drainage over the ark where the Torahs are kept failed, and it flooded the ark. And of all the Torahs in the ark, it was this one, this Holocaust survivor, was terribly damaged. This is our obligation. This was entrusted to us, again, a sacred legacy. And it's up to us to keep this Torah alive, keep it as a living memory. The scribe who does this restoration is going to have to decide which letters need to be restored, and that's going to give us a scroll where there are going to be some letters that are dark, dark black and look brand new, and others that are going to be a little more faded, a little towards the brown, a little lighter black, because we decided that we wanted this scroll to, if you will, carry the scars of its history, to not look like it was brand new and just written last year, but rather a scroll that carries its age proudly.
This scroll in particular is very unique, not only in the fact that it's a Torah that was copied from another Torah, that was copied from another Torah, going back to the original Torah. We call it Torah Moshe, the Torah that we got from on Mount Sinai, Moses. This not only lived through the time, it has a story that goes with it. And the story in brief goes as follows. In 1944, before the war was over, the Jews of Czechoslovakia were still alive, living in various communities out in Czechoslovakia. But hearing the news of what was going on in the rest of Europe, they realized that the end was coming. And not only were they concerned about ultimately their own personal life, but their concern was about their rituals and ultimately their Torah scrolls, what would be with them. So with the permission of the Nazis, and that's what makes it somewhat fascinating, they sent out letters and notices to all the congregations throughout Czechoslovakia, inviting them to send in their Torahs to one center depot. The Jews were collecting all these Torahs for the purpose of hopefully having them when the war is over. The Nazis were collecting them in the hope, the word was out there, that they wanted to make a museum for the lost race. The Jews did not survive, the Nazis did not survive, and these Torahs went unknown, went lost. It was in the middle of the 1950s, towards the end of the 50s actually, when an art dealer out of London, he was across the Iron Curtain looking for some goods, and ultimately his business was somewhat smuggling them out. He took a wrong turn, wrong entrance, ended up in a cellar, and he found in one room, in one place, 1,560 Torahs sitting in one room. If that does not give you chills, I don't know what does. In history, there was never a gathering of Torahs like that ever before. And they brought them over to London, to the Westminster Synagogue in London, and first, they actually brought out a number of scribes, this is going in the early 60s, out of Israel, and they sat for months trying to patch together, fix as best as possible. We're talking about, it's an astronomical number of Torahs, and some of them were obviously in horrible condition. And after that, now what do we do with them? So they came up and they created what they called the trust. This was the Westminster Trust, and what they did is they gave all these scrolls on permanent loan to congregations and communities all over the world, with one purpose in mind, not only to preserve the scrolls, but actually to allow the scrolls to live on. And it's the job of every community to look after those Torahs and make sure they pass on to the next generation. We are, you are, the guardians of this Torah.
In the process of the restoration, there's a great deal of education for all of our congregants and for our community at large to have and to learn about how a Torah is written, how one determines the age and where it came from and where we connect to it. And so we really look forward to having the opportunity for many, many people in our congregation to be up close and personal with this Torah.
Everybody at the end who wants the opportunity will be able, with the help of a scribe, to write a letter. And that is the 613th commandment, to write a Torah.
One of those 613
the very last one
is to write a Torah. Now it takes a scribe who is a skilled person 1 full year to write a Torah. So in our modern society, it is said that if you participate in the writing of a Torah, even one letter, it is as
counts.
though you have fulfilled that commandment.
There's one other element to it, and that is you. Because, as we've mentioned, Mitzvah 613 says that every single Jew has an obligation to physically write in the Torah. You say you haven't practiced, and you'd be worried to put your script in this Torah. Here's the good news. I'm here. And what's going to happen is I will be holding the quill at all times with every single family who will also be holding the quill, the feather, with me. And together, we will be writing a letter in the Torah. But I thought you said you have to write an entire scroll. But I think you may have gotten the answer already. It takes one letter to make this whole thing from a wannabe into a real Torah. So until your individual single letter is written, it's just another collection of letters until that final letter, and ultimately every single letter is written. So whether you're writing 500 letters, 20 letters, or in fact only one letter, it's that one letter that makes all the difference. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually bring the scroll down to the table over there. I'm going to invite you all. You can come in the front, you can come from the sides. I'm going to show you a little bit about it. And then we're going to go into a process of allowing maybe a few individuals to be part of the actual writing of the first letters to see how this goes. If you can hold the feather right over here. Can you get as close as you can? Can you reach it in over here?
Sure can.
Okay, so please do so. Okay. And I'd like you both to say and repeat after me. L'shem.
L'shem.
Mitzvat.
Mitzvat.
Ketivat.
Ketivat.
Sefer.
Sefer.
Torah.
Torah.
And that means that now together you are both fulfilling the last and the final mitzvah of the Torah, which is to write it. Mitzvah 613. We did it. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Congratulations. Mazel tov. We started. Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, yehelanu.
Rabbi, this is the most remarkable, heartwarming experience I've ever had in my life. And my family never signed the Declaration of Independence, but signing a Torah to me is the most important event in my life, and thank you for the privilege.
My honor, my
Absolutely.
honor.
My family loves it.
And we plan on our bar and bat mitzvah students to use this Torah, to pass it on from generation to generation, so they will always remember the Holocaust. And because as the generation of survivors die, this is what we have left to tell our story.
Finally, Moses said, God, we will teach Torah to our children, and they will be the guarantors. And only then did God agree to give Torah to Moses and to the Jewish people.
So really what I think this project is going to hopefully engage everyone is to make our actions, our learning, our heart, our soul, our money, our everything. What are we really doing? We want to make sure that this Torah is here for your grandchildren. That's the job. That's the job at stake.